Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. In this episode, we will finish the very base functionality of our graph. Right now we have commenting, we have everything functional in the work view itself. We have the help, but I have no way of tweaking the parameters of the test. And that is the job of the final view that is remained untouched by now, and that is property view. So in this episode, we will go and do the property view. It's a bit more involved than the help, but the concept is fairly the same. So this is the graph property view that we have inside our graph editor view. Okay, the property view. The status view, remember, I removed it. If you want to, you can still utilize it the way you want. But let's go forward. So we have public override, and the override we want is update view. Again, we call it base. Then we say GUI box, GUI.box view rect with nothing as the text, view skin dot get style. The style we want is property, properties view background. Okay, now I need to find this guy inside my styles. Found it already. So we go back here. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but whenever I'm copy pasting the styles, this is the style.add. I get up to style equals new before the previous style.add. I copy that part and I paste it. And I now need to copy paste the name so that there won't be any misfortunes. Now the background is this guy. Color is a bit dimmer, so 193, 193, 193, and 75. Then the border is 2, 2, 2, 2. Font is 32. Texture is, we don't have this, we have the middle center. And stretch width is there, but the rest is not there. I could make use of a single style that shares these things for the backgrounds of the boxes. But this way I will have flexibility in future if I want to change the stuff, you know. That is why I'm separating them. So after having that, we say GUI layout dot begin area with view rect and GUI layout.end area. It's a very good habit of starting and ending your layouts before putting stuff in between them, because for example, here you will see that it will become a bit complex, and if you forget to end your areas right now, you may ruin the layouts properly. You may ruin putting the layouts properly in place. There we go. Okay, so if current graph does not equal to null and current graph that show properties, that's our very first condition. Then we say if current graph dot selected node does not equal to null and current graph that selection node does not equal to null, and current graph dot selection node dot count equals to 1, only if we have one and only one selected node. Now, one thing is important. If this condition is not met, okay, then we want to say else if select current graph. No, actually, we don't need the if. The else is enough. So if none of these conditions met, meaning that if we don't have any selected node or if we have more than one selected node, we will have something to do here, and that is for the future to do add showing the property for the graph containing global graph variables. This will come handy when we are working on our behavior tree system. I won't put it here right now, but you will see how to do it in future, in next chapter, not in this chapter. Okay? So now that we know here we have only one node selected, we say if current graph dot selected node dot list equals to null, then we say current graph dot selected node. Remember, we are not working with selection, we are just working with single selected one. Dot list equals to new reorderable list of current graph dot selected node dot related node dot metadata dot list. Wait. No, not list. The metadata type of list, and that we'll call the generics of inline value, and I'm adding more and more namespace using on top. Okay, and then we have to add 4 truths for being draggable, being displaying the header, displaying the add button, and finally for displaying the remove button. Okay, now if you check this metadata is a list of inline value. Before this, in my notes I had another class carrying this guy around, but you don't need this anymore. Okay, so just the metadata. Now that we're sure that we have the list, we say scroll pause that we don't have yet equals to GUI layout dot begin scroll view with this scroll pause, and then we say GUI layout dot end scroll view. Okay, now inside the scroll view we call current graph dot selected node dot draw node properties, another method that we will add to the node schema. After that we say GUI layout dot space 3, so we move down 3 pixels. Then we say GUI layout dot begin horizontal, and then we say GUI layout dot end horizontal. Okay, inside the horizontal we give a GUI layout dot space of 3 toward the left side, toward the right side. Then we say It's horizontal. What I'm doing? Yeah, that's true. I'm moving toward the right side. GUI layout dot begin vertical. Okay, and then of course I will say GUI layout dot end vertical. And something that needs to be done, you may yell at me why I'm doing it here. I will say GUI layout dot space of 5. That's just cosmetic. You will see when I am drawing the reorderable list that reorderable list would go all the way to the border of the window. That is why I'm adding 5 pixels here so that it will draw nicely. So GUI layout dot space of 5 down. No, wait. I'm totally missed. This one is 5. Yeah. Horizontal 5, vertical. Yeah. Then we say something that I'm not sure if I have. GUI utility, I have it. Dot draw values list. Something that I don't have yet. What I will send inside here is the current graph dot selected node dot related node dot metadata and the current graph dot selected node dot list. This will draw the metadata, and that is done. We are finished with the view itself. Our job, however, is not finished. We have draw node property, and that is one of these schema stuff. So I will come back, and by the way, I'm adding them on common editor. So I will add a class, and I will call it node schema properties. Okay? And just like node schema help, I will get the name of the partial class and the namespace of node schema. I will place it here so that it will be a continuation. And from the property view, draw node properties is the name of the method. So public virtual void that. Okay, that's one of the errors being gone here. Okay, scroll pause, let's add it here so that I have less headaches. So private vector to that. Now I end up with one error and one method to add, but let's finish this node properties first. And let me comment this guy so I can show you the results. Did I add it here? Yeah, that's the style there. Any more styles here? No. Okay, good. So one thing that I want to do is that when I'm showing the ID of a node, I want to be able to click a button beside it and copy that ID into the Windows, what was the name? Cache for the copy pasting. I totally forgot the name. Anyway, I want to be able to, for example, when you are selecting something like this and then you hit copy and it goes to Windows cache so that you can paste it somewhere else. I want to be able to do that by just clicking a button. For that, we need to use something that we didn't use until now, and that is text editor. And we call it TE equals to a new text editor. Then we will start putting our layout. So GUI layout dot space of 3. Then we say GUI layout dot begin horizontal. GUI layout dot end horizontal. Between the horizontals, we say GUI layout dot space of 5. Then we say GUI layout dot label. The label is name. I want to use a style, node skin dot get style of property label, and the GUI layout dot width of 45. Now, property label is another GUI style, so I will, now this one will do, so I will copy this, Control C, I will paste it here, and the name, property label. Okay, now the background is not graph view background, it's node back normal. The color is all white. Full transparency. Border is 6, 6, 6, and 6. Font equals to 0, font size. Alignment is upper center. Then we have stretch width to true. Then we have content offset equals to new vector 2 of 0, 4 down. Then the last thing we want is fixed height of 24. Okay. Now you may wonder why I set the font size to 0, because you will see when I'm using the, I don't need this, when I'm using the style, it will stretch itself because I'm using this fixed height to 24. It will stretch the text enough to show the texture. Actually, let's build it. I think it can be built right now and be shown right now. So, of course, we need to close and rerun. Yeah, you see, although I set the size to 0, because I have a fixed height, the text will be adjusted by itself. Okay? Now, after the name, we want another 5 pixel horizontally, and here we say related node dot name, node name equals to GUI layout dot text field with the related node dot node name comma node skin dot get a style of editor text. And finally, we want GUI layout that expand width to be true. Okay. Now the editor text background is node back, but I used something else, failure, and I don't have it yet. Okay, so I need to add it, and this is 135 0 162. Border is 666, but something that I want to add is this. Hover equals to, and I don't change the color, but I need to change this guy to node back active light, something that I don't have again. Okay, then font size equals to 11, upper left, stretch width equals false. This is 10 by 4 and fixed height equals 24. Okay, now we have problems. Node back failure and node back active light. These two are the things that I need to add. Now, node back failure, if I find my resources somewhere, where is that? Resources, I have it here, okay? And you see that it's having a little of pinkish color. The error is purple, okay? So, sorry, I had to answer a phone call, but something occurred to me. The node back active light was the version that I was using for the light scheme, and I didn't share it with you guys. So instead of node back active light, I will use the error. Okay, so node back error. Now in resources, if you look, I have both the node back failure and node back error. So I can just alt enter, create property node back failure. Okay, and it will add it there, but I don't want this. I just want it to be like that. So it will be public static read only that equals to. Now this is the failure, so I will copy this guy without the PNG extension, that dot load texture. Okay, that, and I need to capitalize this guy. Then the error equals to the error. Okay, and this should fix both of them. Okay, back to here. Now that I have editor text, I can move forward. After this, I want another one of those 5 pixels. Wait a minute. Yeah. And then we say if GUI layout dot button, the text is copy, the skin is node skin dot get style property button comma GUI layout dot width of 40. So if we hit the copy button, this is where I'm using that text editor to copy the content to the memory. So we say te.content, and you see that it became obsolete, and it says please use text. Okay, so text equals to related node dot node name. Then we say te dot select all, so it selects its content that for timing is the text, and then we say te dot copy, and this is what copies that text into the memory. Okay, and at the end I have to add one of these, and that is our first horizontal. So let's save and build. And of course I don't have that property button. It will yell at me, but for time being, to make sure that the copy pasting is working, if I hit the copy button, I come back to my stuff, and here if I control V, you see that I got the text. Okay, and that is what I wanted. So now the property button style. So I will select this, paste, and get the style name. Just look at my naming, property label, editor text, then property button. You can say that I added things in different timings anyway. So note back, I will add selected. Then we have the hover, and I will add one more here, and that is active. Equals to, and here instead of error I will reuse failure. Okay, and the border is the same, font size equals 0, this is upper center, back to 0.4, and the stretch width equals to, this time true, and the fixed height of 24. So I will build it, go back to Unity. We won't pick it up right now because we need to close Unity and rerun Unity. And suddenly you see that, yeah, it's behaving now. Okay, I may need to change this color anyway, and this copy is a bit toward the left side. Oh well, it's easy fix. One of the things is that I need, I don't know, maybe 4 pixels to the right, and here I will use this text color there, build. And of course, again, I need to close this thing and rerun this thing. I honestly hate the solution for this, but if you want to keep your styling, oh yeah, there we go. That's much better. That's much better. And I need to do the same for this guy, but meh. That's much nicer, in my opinion. Okay, so the color goes into the hover state and the active state. Okay, so we got our first item. I will move toward the rest a bit faster because I think now we are ready to pump it up. So that was our first horizontal. Then we want almost the same thing, so I will copy the whole thing, paste it. We have a horizontal, we have a space of 5. Then instead of this we have related node dot ID, and the skin will be with ID, and instead of this we will have expand width to true. Then we don't have this spacing, we don't need that, we don't need this. Then again the property button with the copy, but instead of this we say equals to id dot GUID, okay, dot to a string. So we get the GUID, not the conversion, and that's that. Now, the GUID ID. Actually, I forgot something. Yeah, we have that space 5 here. No, I'm derping. Okay, here's the thing. I have a copy that copies the ID itself. Okay. And then I have yeah, that's it. I have a space of 5, and I have one of these buttons again. But this time, instead of copy, I say copy GUID. Okay? And they don't have a fixed width, so they will adjust themselves. This is when I am getting the GUID.toString. .GUID to string. Okay? And at the end, I have one more 5 pixels before I close the horizontal. Okay. Now, GUID ID. Is another style that I need to add. The GUID ID normal equals to node back error color is 0 to 55, 255 and 16 that. We don't have the hover or the active. Border is the same. Font size I used 11, although it's irrelevant. Upper center. Stretch width is false. And this is again 04 and 24. Build. Nah, this is too big. I don't like it. Oh well. Did I miss anything inside that one? The grid one. Didn't I said expand width equals true? Okay. Okay. This is grid layout dot width of 40. If you are not behaving, I will force you to behave. And grid layout dot width. How many more? 85 maybe. So now I'll load Unity. And we have this. 85 is too much. Maybe 75. Close. Yeah, that's close enough for me. I won't become picky, although it's bothering me. OCD 72. Perfect. Now, as you see, this is not the GUID, it's the ID that we are using as the string, okay? If I select a node, and the node, you see that the ID has a GUID and has a string, the value. We are showing the value, okay? But if I say copy, for example, and I come back and I will do this like this, and at the end I will paste it here, you see that I get the value. But if I use the copy GUID, and if I come back and again paste it, you see that I got the GUID. Okay, that is, I think, more flexibility there. Now, after the GUID, what do we have to show? Is really simple stuff. So we ended this horizontal. I will copy this one and I will paste it at the end. And now you see why I say whenever you open something, you close it immediately, because it can become mess. So we have the horizontal, the space 5. We have this that we say comment. Its property label, width of 70. Then a space of 5. Then here we say, instead of this, we say comment equals to comment, and again editor text, expand with true, and space 5, and we don't have this guy. And that's our property, the node property itself. Okay, so coming back, now that I'm showing the comment, that's a good thing. If I type it here, this is a comment, and you see that it's showing up there. Okay, and you see that this is actually enough space. If I type, it will do this, and I don't like it. But there is nothing that we can do about it, because that's expand width. If I didn't want to make this guy expand width, then I had to, calculate the width of the property view and then do more stuff, and I hate it. Anyway, now we shown our node properties. As much as I think the name, the ID, and the comment is the only thing that we should show for any base node, and we can, well, the metadata is remaining, but if you look, this is the node itself, and this is the schema. In the schema, inputs is relevant, the boundary, the rect, the output, parent graph, related graph. The help is something that you would put as you are developing the node inside here, and there is no way to show it here. Then the icon that is showing inside the view, so there is no reason for that. And the comment is just being shown there. So yeah, that is all the things we need to show, except the metadata. Okay, and the metadata is sitting on the node itself. Okay, so if I, for example, make it 4, so that we have 4 elements. Yeah, this is the metadata. The metadata is carrying tons of things. You see, it's carrying a boolean, a color that is a vector for, an animation curve, a float value, int value, a name, 64 bits just there, and another vector 4, another vector 4, another 64 bits here, another vector 2, and another vector 3, and yet another vector 4. Okay, so each metadata would be a huge stuff, but honestly I didn't find any way of unboxing this thing to add metadata on each node. And by metadata I mean variables related to just one node, you know. I didn't find any way to do that, unfortunately. This is the only way, and honestly, I don't think you will have these many metadata in most of your nodes, actually. It's just there to make the whole thing complete. I don't see myself using it that much in my solutions, but I added it so that the API and the system would be complete. So the last and only remaining thing is for metadata to be drawn, and that's that. If you look, you have to uncomment this guy. This is where our current graph, selected node, related node, metadata would be drawn. So I will just change all draw value list. What the heck? Oh, this is the Unity one. GUI utils. Yeah, I don't have that. And I was wondering, I didn't have any GUI utils. Okay, utilities, maybe, or GUI utility. But then I have to come back here and say that, hey, this is my GUI utility. Let me see. Where is this guy sitting? Inside bars node graph editor view. So it's nothing common. It's node graph editor view. We don't have any utility here. I can put it inside here, although we have this utility, we have GUI style utility, utils. Okay, I call them all utils. I will stick with that. So utils, and I don't have it. So wait a minute, where is that GUI utils? Yeah, I can do it here. Okay, so I will add a class here, call it GUI utils, but I need to change this GUI to the lowercase. GUI utils, and here I will use GUI utils. Okay, and the GUI utils I think needs to be static. Yep, so it needs to be a static class, GUI utils. And here now, yeah, import the namespace, and now I can say create method, and it's a static, a list of inline values. I will call it value, and a reorderable list, I will call it list. Reorderable list. There we go. Okay, this needs a bit of coding, and we are already near 40 some minutes, so I will finish this this one in last episode, and that would be when we are almost finished with our node graph system. Until then, have fun everyone. Bye bye.